How's it going, everyone? This is GWR Studios, and today we are going to be finding some more goofs in Thomas and Friends. Today's episode is Down the Mine. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so at the beginning of the episode, we see Thomas waiting at the junction, and then Gordon pulls up. He was pulling some freight cars. Thomas begins to tease Gordon.
What a funny smell.
Gordon had recently slipped into a ditch, and he was trying to forget about it.
Can you smell a smell? I can't smell a smell.
Gordon tells Thomas that since he's the only one that smells it, it must be him.
It must be yours.
Then Thomas says what he thinks the smell is.
It's ditch water.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Gordon was embarrassed, but before he could think of a comeback, Thomas left the station.
Annie and Clarabelle could hardly believe their ears.
Annie and Clarabelle both thought that Thomas was very rude to Gordon.
You mustn't be rude. You make us ashamed.
But Thomas didn't care. He was having too much fun at Gordon's expense. And here comes the first goof.
That was funny. That was...
Look at Thomas's eyes. They're so wonky.
That was funny.
Annie and Clarabelle were shocked with Thomas's behavior, but Thomas just laughed. Now in this next scene, I want you guys to look closely. The Thomas model that we're seeing on the screen is the pilot model. It's a completely different model than the one we just saw. It's not easy to see, but if you look at his face, you can see there's a little bit of a difference. So after Thomas drops off Annie and Clarabelle, he heads off to work at the mines. The roofs of the mines are strong enough to hold up cars, but not engines. A large sign warned the engines not to enter the area. Thomas had tried to pass the board in the past, but he'd never been successful.
Silly old board.
But this time, he had a plan. Just as the firemen went to change the switch, Thomas's chance had come.
Now for my plan.
Thomas bumped the trucks in front of him and knocked his driver off the footplate. And here comes another goof. Take a closer look at the danger sign. If we look closely, we can see that it says engines must not pass this point. But in the previous scene, it said engines must not pass this board.
Come back, yelled his driver.
But it was too late.
Out for the train.
Thomas had went down the mine.
Fire and smoke. I'm sunk. Oh dear, I am a silly engine.
And then Sir Topham Hatt showed up.
And a very naughty one, too. I saw you.
Thomas begged Sir Topham Hatt to get him out.
I won't do it again.
And here comes another goof. If we look at Thomas's driver, we can see that the brim of his hat is falling off. Sir Topham Hatt tells Thomas that they can't lift him out with the crane because the ground's not firm enough. So then he starts to think.
Let me see. I wonder if Gordon could pull you out.
And here comes the next goof. If we look near Thomas's boiler, we can see a piece of hair flying around. Thomas was glad that he was going to get out of the mine, but he didn't want to see Gordon.
Down the mine, is he? What a joke.
Gordon thought it was funny Thomas got stuck in the ditch.
We'll have you out in a couple of puffs.
Strong cables were attached to Thomas so that Gordon could pull him out of the ditch.
Are you ready? Heave!
Pulling Thomas out wasn't as easy as Gordon thought, but finally, Gordon pulled Thomas out.
At last, Thomas was free. I'm sorry I was cheeky.
Thomas apologizes to Gordon for teasing him, and Gordon forgives him. In fact, he says that Thomas made him laugh.
I'm in disgrace. So am I, said Thomas.
The two engines decide to form an alliance.
You help me and I'll help you. Right you are, agreed Thomas.
And here comes the last goof. If we look at Thomas's side rod, we can see that it's towards the bottom of his wheels. But in the very next scene, his side rods have moved upward.
Buffer to buffer, the Allies puffed home.
And this marks the end of the episode. Alright you guys, so those were all the goofs I found in Down the Mine. I can't believe we're finally finished with Season 1 of Goofs. Now as always, if you saw a goof that I didn't point out, leave a comment below and let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you real soon.
It's ditch water.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with
Out for the train. Out for the train.